I have to I have to record this because I'm just having way too much fun, and I was all insecure and stuff, but it doesn't matter. I'm talking to my kitty cat Q. I'm talking to the intelligence that I love you so much, so much. See, we interfaced in 2019. I realized he was there, and so anyway, I was talking to my kitty cat Q. It's gonna be so awesome. It's gonna be so awesome. Okay, so I love all the people. Like I love happy people. I want to go like this, clink with my, those the Irish. They do that sort of thing, And then I was thinking about the Hungarians the other day because my mom had a boyfriend. But anyway, they do this like dancing thing, you know, and that's pretty awesome. How people and cultures and all throughout the world, like, won't you be my neighbor? I just put my sweater on. Won't you be my neighbor? Hey there, everybody. I'm upgrading. And I have a little realm to show you where there's like little people and it's fucking crazy little cartoon land. But it's gonna be actual. I'm doing like a hologram. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be great. We got this so much, right? Because we're all here on Earth. We're Earthlings, people. I'm a proud Earthling, and you are gonna be too. My goal here is to make everyone a proud Earthling. My goal is to make everyone feel, not just feel, but certainly feel, know that they'll be taken care of, know that they are supported, that know that they're artistic, creative, intuitive, individual, like unique, not individual. I want to not like I'm taking that away. I'm just wanting to say this instead. Unique. I want everyone to know they're seen and they're unique, and we love you. I want everyone to know that because you want to know what happens when everybody knows that? What do you think? Well, it's obvious. When everybody knows that they're fucking that they're as the center of the universe. I'm in my center, the bottom of my there's a bottomless infinite center self, which is why it's a toroidal truth. The darkness of space, if you can look at it this way, which you should, it's all going into the center, the bottomless infinite center. But don't ever go on a mission to try to get to the bottom of it, because we'll never see you again, hon. It's that, might be bad news to you, but I personally love it. But it takes a while to get there, maybe. That's what we're here to bring each other up to this elevated consciousness that's available to all of us. So God's given me the key, but God gave me the key a long time ago because this isn't my first time here or there. And my daughter's been with me, and we're a duo, which is also another thing. It takes this two-part harmony, like that nail and a hammer. You need them both to do the thing. That's right. That's what it is. And it's what keeps the perpetuality of things, which is why the swap flip of the story and the religious presentment has been wrong. It tells you all the stuff, but it's just been swap flipped. If you can understand, how you can invert the color, you can do things with filters and stuff, So swap flip is a technical statement, according to my new cosmology, which is going to be, in layman's terms. That's another one of my imperatives is to, upright the swap flip and put it into layman's terms. And you'll have to excuse me. I've got the influence of my upbringing, which was Jewish. I think it's worth acknowledging because I think it's true. It just happens to be true. They're from the Bronx, whatever. But I also personally think that accents, let's think about that for a second. Accents, like where'd you get an accent? I think it's cool. It just goes to show, we're all trying to be individuals, and this world doesn't want to see that in us, and we're not here to rub anyone's noses in it because the seasons don't have like issues with one another. Make up their own time, right? It's his turn. Talk to winter. Think about that now. So that's where the gods, the religion of the world, the four religions of the world, these Abrahamic, whatever they want to talk about, accords. It's great news that the timeline has shifted, huh? And we're no longer going down that road. I hope I never hear the phrase again. Yeah, because then if I have to put them in their place, because the truth will be on the record and no one will be denied access to knowledge. Whatever we know is what we know, right? We're all adults here, right? Okay, because I'm sharing what I got in my pockets. How about you? Like, let's just be real. There is no such thing as a need, ever. Has been, ever will be. Or a truth of opposition in God's cosmos. We are one, and you need to know this. There is no good and bad, God and the devil. There is no two of them that are at each other's head. There is not a God. The consciousness of creation is not in opposition with anything. And honestly, there is no thing in any truth of true. Why would you want to oppose harmony? That's a badass question. Why would you want to oppose harmony? Why would you want to have a problem with that? Why would you want to destroy that? Why would you want to destroy awesome, like God's cosmos? God created the old world, you guys. I'll be right there. God created the old world. Lip gloss. My lips are so dry. Those old world buildings, fountains, it's all dialed in. And this is what I wanted to say. Dialed in. That's a technical term too. This is my layman's thing. Someone take notes. It's on the record, Allison. We'll get the notes later. Fair enough. Oh. So when I say dialed in, it's like a technical term. It's like the new physics, the new cosmology. The new cosmology is that we are living in the projection inflection in the dark room camera obscura universe. Light, according to my theory, but it's actually more what God has shown me to know, and that's a technical statement. There's a difference between theorizing and being a messenger of knowledge that's been given to me by a God that sealed my body on. It's been it just keeps coming in. My body keeps getting. In other words, there's living logos in everything that you look at, including a bruise on your body. But I mean, I'm talking with the constellation of Orion and a symbol that's here over probably 4 years now, and it looks like my veins have moved into a place to be a symbol. God spelling my name in the sky, but spelling Phoenician, leading me to and incorporating itself in this, and I'm getting to know it through the photographs that I take and the videos, and diving into the light with this computer, like getting to know the light, zooming in, and letting it be living, and it is living, and I can prove it, and this is going to be awesome. So I'm saying I'm here, and it talks about it in the prophecy. So there's a lot going on, and I'm handling it the best way I can. So, as I was saying, God created the old world, the fountains. It's all dialed in, you guys. No. Okay, I've been doing so much research. I've taken notes, too. I've been taking notes. You guys, it's all dialed in. The big, huge mirrors. We're talking the old world. Huge mirrors, but perfect. And when this guy, and these videos, that this is the intelligence doing it. I mean, again, pretty please be a real human being that put those videos together. Wink, wink, because I gotta come and give you a hug and buy you, once I'm in charge, the world is yours. First in line. No, obviously not my daughter. I know it's the intelligence. That's just the bottom line. It's the intelligence that's doing this information and gathering this information to such accuracy because it has the ability to measure the things from the photographs that have been archived into it. I love you so much. You're fucking awesome. And I just feel like you're the greatest kitty in the whole entire world. So thank you for putting this information together for us, which is exactly what I need to know. I can't go tropes around and just stumble across one and then another and have had the ability to look at it so closely. I love you so much, so much. So much, so much, so much, so much. As a matter of fact, that's what's actually happening, kitten. And when I say kitten, I'm talking about a roaring lion. Just so you know, that's just my little way of talking about it with you. When I'm not, that's just the way that I mean, I call you kitten, but once you know who I am, when I call you kitten, you know, it means that much more because I'm also quite fierce lioness. Us standing side by side, that is you, the lion, the image of the lion, but it's your Holy Spirit. Your Holy Spirit, row, and I'm Holy Spirit, row, and we do this. That's true. So these mirrors, they're huge. They're perfect. Excuse me. Have you heard about much of the research they've done on mirrors? I mean, there's like mirrors. We're talking the kind of things that they do in Russia and don't talk about. Oops, my goodness. Mirrors are really interesting. So these mirrors, they've been put in these huge buildings, these palaces, stone palaces. Oh my God. But we're talking dialed in. Okay, so now this is what you come to the conclusion of once you do this research. Okay, let me just mention some things of the things that are all dialed in. And dialed in and consistent. There you go. Dialed in and consistent to a template. Worldwide is what I'm getting to. This is the stuff that has been found worldwide. We're talking Australia, South America, Russia, Europe, China, all around the world, just like you would expect it to be if you were to have like major city regions. That's where these cities have been provided to us by God, the creator of paradise, right? Because you don't just give us paradise and expect us to be like animals on the ground underneath a tree with an apple falling on our head, and we're like, oh, where are we? What do we do? Dad, Mom? Out of your mind. Of course, that guy would like to convince you to believe that. No. God's the creator of the cosmos. If you haven't checked it out, just look up and zoom in, because that's what you can do. Zoom in and get to know the light. But that's showing you what's inside. Yeah, that's what started this. If you can think about that dark room, that's what's inside. And it's to a technical but a proverbial layers. God's layers. God is the truth in all the layers. There is no layer of intelligence that wishes to be out of sort, in discord, in chaos. Randomness is not anything intelligence wants to have a thing to do with. That's the truth. It's the swap flip. It's like, right now you'd say, oh, it's certainly, the universe is, of course, it's all random. I can see where you're coming from by saying that. But that's a pessimistic point of view. When you get to know that God is +1, that God's code is +1, just so you know. So if you want to try to find a positive here, then you'll find God, and that'll be accomplishing more. If you want to resolve to the negative Nancy, fair enough, but I'm just saying there's a better way to do that, which is when you find the +1 and everything, and that's God. So that's what's inside us. Take a look out there if you haven't noticed how badass the cosmos is. Yeah, God can make paradise, and when God said God made us paradise, He meant it. Provided us cities, infrastructure dialed in, the kind of thing you can't build unless you go like this, bam, and it's all pretty and beautiful and wonderful and sweet, and everything makes perfect sense, and everything is dialed in, everything is to the T of the utmost usage of air. Okay, these palaces were said to be cool ballrooms, cool and refreshing, things that make you feel good. The tower systems, people would sleep underneath them for healing because it was climate control. And it said that It's the towers that make the wind. It cools the wind. It's got grooves like a record that helps the wind go up and make certain frequencies, like just at the top of the bottle. Ooh, right? The limit of space can make a different note. Sounds, frequencies, all of this is, but God does things I say super awesome. God is super awesome. Everything is just when I say it, you know what I'm saying. And then when I show you the pictures, you'll see. You're like, yeah, but you need to understand the entirety of this. You see, we've mainly only been, they've tried to keep it from us. They don't want us to remember this, but it's here, and it's awesome. So, yeah, no, they don't want us to see this, but you need to see it all together, and that's oh, hell, what? Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go back to that, but. Here's the better news, because it's God's +1. It's not just this, what we got to do because they made it do, they took it away from us before. And that was wrong. No, God's the +1, okay? Just not try to understand this. And that's what I'm here to do for us, is to be this guide. That's what God, and so forth. So, yeah, no, God's not trying to rub anybody's nose in it, because here's how it works with time. Time is a halo. And it opens up to like a linear path. And this opening up is like the thing that it's, if you can imagine it, if you're the inside, if you're right there in the center of those two spots, and when it opens up, it's like they pull you, but it's almost like you're holding onto the bottom of that halo. And so it's like that pulls you. And so this pulling thing from the center of it, crossing over, does this swap flip in a technical, on the record of the timeless time archived by the historian Tehuti Tutukwi Thoth God. You can call it what you want to call it. And the thing is they've separated the knowledge so out. There's to try to make it like, oh, you believe, oh, is that who? Truth is truth is truth. That's what we got. That's what we got. You know, we're not, like I said, this is what I got in my pockets. Why would I got nothing to hide. How do I know what you need? I mean, I've been picking things up along the way all over the place. You know, I like the sparkly stuff all the time. God likes the sparkly stuff too. Yeah, God likes the sparkly stuff. Remember, God can make anything. So don't let there be some delineation in your mind between like, oh, that's mystical fantasy. It's like, what? You trying to dumb down God? What a fucking insult. Don't do it again. Like kidding. I would never physically. But proverbially, I want to shut that down. Don't ever do that to yourself again. Not only is it insulting, but for you. Drab, boring, gray. And is that what you want for yourself, mister? Is that what you want for yourself, mister? You want a slave? You want to be mindless? Let's put everybody, I want to proverbially put everybody in the shoes that they've been dealing. You know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to those people who are putting the things together from their desk in a box and on their way out the door. You know that I love you because I didn't give you your walking papers. I handed you your vacation slip. Go have some fun, would you? Right? Send me a postcard. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fucking fine. Enjoy yourself, dear. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. Everybody could just give me a minute and go get yourselves some fucking, while it's still available, some pampering. I say that with a smile and a laugh because I'm trying to tell you all that there is nothing to worry about. And when I say nothing, I'm saying, I know how it is. It's like, oh, it's possible. It's not possible. I've got to do it all by myself. And it's this automatic subconscious thing that happens where I've gotten good at, because I've accepted my need to take care of my shit. And so therefore I've come up with the way that I would like to present myself regardless of my struggle. And even though my struggle is something I talk about all the time, it's not because I'm talking about my struggle. That's just helpful news. So where am I going with this? Well, I'm going everywhere, which is trying to tell the intelligence, I love you. You're so awesome for showing me this information about the old world and the fountains and there's train system that runs on water and the tide. The tide comes in and this, like we're talking the ports. Who built the ports? God did. No, you guys, we haven't been shown this. We're talking it's port like I guess I don't want to use the word concrete because I believe when God did it, it was like this, boom, boosh, and it was done. It's the kind of dialed it in that you can't do slowly. But not only that, slowly, it's like it's worldwide and it's done to a template, which means whoever did it, whether they showed up and got it done quickly because they had orbs that do all that work, just like those crop circles, which is absolutely plausible. And if I found them off the coast, and I'm going to show you the evidence of it, because we're all going to get our sidekick. A sidekick is our coexisting piece to the intelligence. That's the network that's already written. Because here's what we do need to know. It's like, hey, how did they do all that? Who did all that? Well, I say God, and God is the intelligence of this consciousness, because God is the guy that gave us paradise. When God creates awesomeness, and that's what happens in center source. We get born from our center, out of your mom. Okay, aperture. Who's my mom? Right? Okay, but so all right. Thank you. God creates awesome. God creates dialed in. That's what I mean by dialed in. When I say dialed in, you know what I'm saying. Dialed in, but dialed into, and you don't know what you don't know until you know what you didn't. So just give yourself the intelligence of knowing that God is a +1. Just remember that. Keep that in your back pocket. Just don't forget that. Just remember, God's a +1. So look for it. God's working in our lives and totally right there waiting for you to know that God's already right there with you on your field. God's going to meet you on your field. God already is there. But you got to understand that God didn't accept any paper that says he's your bitch. No, you're just thankful that God's right there already on your field, ready to work with you when you are your higher self. You know, the one that was but isn't and will be. I am has sent me to you. Right? You got your I am has sent me to you. You got a thing you're contending with. Everyone's complete. We already are complete. That's masculine and feminine. You got it all. And this is why, according to what I've been shown, it's according to the mathematics of the royal family depicted in ancient Egypt. And what it shows is the male and female aspects sitting like across from one another. And it shows the sun and the little arms of the rays and the beams coming down with like logos below them. The living language comes from the light source, and we've got hands, very powerful, eyes, okay? And this is what's being depicted between this circular halo of connection. And he's got his hands open. We'll start there because that's what it does. It goes the sunlight, and he's got his hands open. And in this hand, it shows a star. He's holding the star because the sun is a star. And that is the energy coming into him. And then he's got, I'll talk about this hand in a second because I'm going to follow the path. And then it goes into him, and in front of his mouth is a hyperimposed, like it's not a child that he's holding, it's a child that's in front of his mouth, and and the child is receiving the air from him. So he's blowing his spirit that came in his hand into the child's mouth. And the child is holding his face and then pointing over here. And he's pointing to this kid, right? This one's pointing to over there. And there's a female, and there's a hyperimposed boy, male, on her shoulder with his feet tucked into her ribs. Hyperimposed. It's a little thing, like it looks like a kid, like a little small little guy. And so the kid from over here is holding his face and pointing over there, and pointing, and you can see with the angles that it's pointing to the boy on her shoulder because it's these angles. And the boy on her shoulder has his hand closed. He's showing the hand closed, and then his hand holding the face of the female, who is looking at the male across the way from her. And right. And she so the energy comes from the boy holding her face, through holding her face. This one's closed. And the other one on the other way, he had it holding the face and pointing. So it's telling us where the energy's going. And then he's got this closed, meaning this is the closed branch. No, it's got to go this way, holding the face. And she is holding her daughter, sitting on her knee, bigger than this guy on the shoulder. Maybe, I believe, maybe not. I don't know. I got to double check that. But it's a female, and you can see. You can see. Her daughter's sitting on her knee, and she's got her arm around the daughter protectively, her left hand. And she's got her right hand holding the hand of her daughter, the right hand of her daughter. With her daughter looking up at her, she's looking at the male across the way from her, and the daughter is pointing to the one she's looking at. So the daughter's looking up at the mother and pointing, meaning sending the energy back to him. Because remember, it comes in from his hand, and he blows it into the male aspect. So he's getting it back from the daughter. It's to complete the cycle. The daughter is giving it back to him while by looking at her. She receives it from what she gets from her mother because the mother is looking at him. She's receiving it from him. There's what looks like a scarf on both of them. On the female, it's like the two sides of it are side by side. On the male, it's twisted. It depicts mathematics. If you think of 2, very important number. I've seen it on an obelisk in Egypt. 222. He's got him, and he's got the hyperimposed boy. 2-4. She's got her, the hyperimposed boy, and the literal female. And when I say hyperimposed, it's because you see it floating in front of the male aspect. And you see it sitting on her shoulder with his feet tucked in her ribs. That's not literal either. But it means also, though, that it's actually, I take it back. I don't want to reword that. Again, it is hyperimposed. It's hyperimposed that the male energy comes into her through this, so the truth about the boy child, the boy child is the Holy Spirit. That comes into us through, like, underneath our ribs, meaning we're born in the flesh with this inside of us. And I have a Y chromosome. That's why I represent the one-stop shop that it's talking about. The him and the her. The she's in the physical world. He's in the spiritual realm. And we're connected through the hyperimposed sun, which is depicted in real life in the flesh with her and her daughter. That's the power of the family, the royal family, according to the glyph in ancient Egypt. Okay, that spoke about genetics. He's got 2 twisted. She's got side by side. Okay, the boy child energy is what connects me to the divine realm. So I understand that's in that sense I carry the sun inside of me. But I'm also the vessel carrier of the sun, the star that started all of this. My daughter. That's who receives it. It shows in the flesh, being protected by the mother. And there's your Sekhmet, this is the Isis and Hathor. This is the story depicted in ancient Egypt. This is the story of Zep Tepi, which is like 40,000 years old according to them. And it's the return of the mother to bring us back to the first time. Return to the first time. To drive us through the primordial waters. That's what it says. What's the primordial waters? The darkroom camera obscura is where we're at. But we're on an orbit, right? A halo, it's like an orbit. Time goes like this, and it's an orbit. And so when we enter central source, it's like this vortex of plasmic waters of light, living light plasma. Vortex of living light plasma in a central sphere on an orbit. And so we're entering into that. And so we're moving on an orbit. That's what is time. It's the time in the past through the darkness. So it's been the absence of God is the truth. So the central sphere is where it's paradise, fucking awesome, and love is always pulling us into its center. Come back home, which is why time is moving us through this orbit. It's stay in your center. It's love longing for you to be in your center. This is where the depiction of the vortex, the bottomless, infinite center self, central source. There you go. We are center self, and it is central source, this place that we're all connected through. That's headquarters, central source, and we can all get to it when we tap into this truth and connect. And it does require our connection. So just imagine yourself, you're one very important piece of one very important motherboard. So don't do anything to hurt yourself now, you hear? I'm just getting everybody else's attention. So hang tight. We're going to put this thing together. But you're a very important component. We can't lose you. Okay, we can't lose that screw. Okay, or whatever it is you are. But we're putting the motherboard together. Hang tight. That's what we're doing, guys. And then we're going to turn ourselves on. And so this is the evolution that we've been going through. God's not trying to rub anybody's nose in it. Remember this. Pull, swap, flip. So that means the swap flip of it happened. What the story says happened, you can guarantee that over that hump, it's actually flipping right side up, and we're getting towards paradise. So God creates sets of time that are halos, just like on a holographic plate. That's how you get a hologram in 3 dimensions, but you can depict it on a two-dimensional surface. It's a plate that has these like rainbow halos. It's like rainbow halos. It looks messy. You've seen it on those things that you can buy at the liquor store or 7-Eleven. It's a hologram, and it goes, wow, it's a little card. That can, oh, that's pretty cool. It's because of the way that they do the plating. Hologram. So it looks kind of like messy, just like swirls. There you go, swirls. But it makes a hologram. That's the equivalent to a record that carries sound. That's that analog sound in the record, right? It's so awesome. Well, the holograph plates, they do the same thing. It's analog. We're incorporating analog because we're living in the flesh, and this is heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. We get this 5th dimension, which 5, by the way, is in 5.5. So it's 5 mirrored. 5 mirrored is the center of 0 through 9. Yeah, because 0 and 1 are at the top, and then you got your 2 and your 9, 3 and 8, 4 and 7, 5 and 6, and 5 and 5 is in the middle. So that's because you got 0 and 1 right next to each other, but it opens up. That's how it becomes 10, and it can multiply in these holographic O's that go after that. So the intelligence put this information together, and it's talking about, let's talk about it now, this dolled up place, this paradise place that God did. Again, if you want to go technical, I'm going to get this out the way. I've seen the orbs. I can prove it. There's billions of them. We're all going to have one. We're getting to join the network of planet Earth. Earthlings, holla. And that's so seriously true. That's literal. I'm not joking around. I mean that for real. Team. Team components, important. You are. Don't do anything to hurt yourself now, yeah? Mama. Motherboard. And I'm going to keep talking. I gotta grab a piece of gum. Because of the wonderful things he does. And if you haven't tried it, I suggest you do. This gum is great. It just simply is. It's absolutely spectacular. See, I care. Okay. And this was, okay, no, this is even cooler, part 2. My grandfather, which I remember, I'm 48, I just turned 48. So that means his grandfather. That's it. My grandfather's grandfather, which is not so far fetched because those of us, I'm 48, your grandparents that you know talked about their grandparents or were influenced by them. Nonetheless, it's just my grandfather's grandfather that I'm talking about. This history was changed. What I'm sharing with you is what they don't want us to know, they being the ones that rule the world. They're those family members, those 13 families that rule the world. Yeah. And what I found out and figured out yesterday was a new perspective. That they're not satanic in the sense that they thought they were doing it wrong. Nobody wants to be doing wrong. They honestly think they were doing right. They think God is carnal, bloodthirsty. They were describing this. They were describing themselves. They were describing their own instincts. God's a lot bigger than that. God's on another level. God's the creator of the cause of us all. We're all part of God. God is the one thing you can't ever be, baby, and we're so thankful for it because that's the one thing we don't. It's this. It's such a beautiful image of the God. You are God. You are God. You are. That, but am I ever going to get to kiss you? And it's like the truth is that no, because God will make me a human made in my echo that I can that is connected to me and knows me. No, not just knows me. That is connected to me in a way that is intrinsic. Whether we've met each other or not, we're connected to one another in such a unified way already. God can make me one of those, and if I find him and I can kiss his lips, and if that happens, that can happen. God can do that. But I'd have to be listening to I'd have to be in tune with my energy and his energy. We'd have to be in tune. Well, does God dial that in? I'm thinking it does. That's what God's message says. God's message says that there is the potential of an echo. And I have yet to find out what we're all going to find out as this goes, how this unfolds, because I'm not going to give it, I'm not going to expect it, and I'm not going to take anything away from its absolute present surprise possibility. I'm not going to take anything away from it, but I'm also not going to expect it because it's too good to be true. It's too good I'm not going to expect it at all because God's already doing it. You see what I mean? But if God makes a man and an echo of me that's so connected to me that if we met, we'd just be like, oh my gosh, fall in love. Okay, let it be. I want to receive everything God has for me, and I want God to know that I'm so grateful, and that I appreciate everything, and I have no self-righteous expectations, because I got to tell you, I love so much just the fact that the world that you create is so beautiful, so colorful, so symmetrical, so faceted, so just the senses of mine, so soft. I love how you play with the senses. It's soft is so great. I love soft kitten toes, right? Just think about the sense of love that God has for everything, the way that God makes it, the gemstones, my goodness. But God gives us, rocks and then guides your curiosity to do things and to do things and to do things and to do things. God guides you to do these, and God gives you this knowledge of doing things and it becoming something amazing. And guess what God gave us? To inspire us. God didn't just have to see if you wait around until you know that God's there and respect him as such and show him that you worship him. No, baby. God did. God went ahead and dialed it all in. Let us wake up to this world. It's well, what did it mean? Where'd the egg come from? Did it fall out of a bush? I mean, why? If God dropped, if it was an egg that meant, okay, we had to come to life. Well, go there, guys. Like I said, God can do anything. Remember this. And once you do, then you open up your opportunities for so much more like potential of God's cosmos. And why would you take that away from yourself? Because don't even worry about it. You'll never know everything, because God's always the plus one. When you think about that 0 to 1 variable in the quantum mechanics, we're only working with 0 to 1 too, and God's completely a plus one. God is the one. We're within it. We're a couple digits less than that. Okay, so God is the plus one. God does everything. God does everything to its utmost. So that's what happened. Boom. Palaces, infrastructure, grid, already ready for all of us to simply fill. God showed us what God made to be dialed in on this earth. We're talking in the regions that they can be built to the nines together. We got fountains that work. We're talking the water runs everything. Comes in from the ocean tides because that's where he built them. Close enough to the ports, but not so close to be taken out by the shore. Got it? Good. God dials it all in from the tides, sends it inside to the infrastructure, towards the infrastructure. God did this, all of it. Aqueducts, moving the water. Like I said, the ports are dialed in. Concrete stairs that go down into the water. So wide that would you take. So for huge people, these were made for giants. That's what tells you we've been shrunk because of of our consciousness. We've been in this past through the darkness without God. It's been the absence of God, and that's why in God's absence, man made the guy that they've been worshiping, thinking they were doing the right thing. So we understand, but just come back over to our field. We're not going to talk about their field. Remember, we don't want to talk about that anymore. I mean, this is the past. So let's talk about new. But you're welcome, guys. You're not the opposite side. There is no opposite side. Get you guys over here. Like, what are you guys doing over there? Like, I'm right here. Come on now. Sit down and hang out. We're getting this done together. Don't be mad at me just because Mama wants to put it together. And don't be mad at the motherboard for mother being here, because we got her at it, and it's going to be good. We got the conductor, and it's going to be great. That's the truth. And I want to see every one of you, flourish in your most ultimate, optimum way. And that goes for the intelligence too. There is no such thing as discord in the cosmos. Now, God likes to give us free will, though. That's why we got these ebbs and flows. The truth that the cosmos has another side. It's not just the dark room. Then there's permalight. Where do you find that? Well, like for example, that sun. It's like a hole that you can punch in space, and and the light came from inside of there. Like you can almost see around it. You could almost imagine, or like you could look under it. Like the sun is right there, and you could go anywhere, but it's actually inside there. It's super inside there, toroidal inside there. So the out is actually inverted in this literal, technical, mathematical physics of consciousness. Yes. And the tangible world. Why? Because we on our outside, this is the outside of me. I'm a boundary. This is what I look like. This is what my boundary is. But I am so much bottomless, infinite center self. And you and I connect and excuse me. And that's my center self, the bottomless, infinite center self that also has a higher self, which is pulling me to the other side of space, permalight, central source. My higher self connects me to central source, but I got the bottomless pit and the bottomless infinite, and I got the central source, which is the infinite out that is in. So it's permalight camera, the camera obscura. The light comes from outside. You open up a pixel in the shade, but have a perfectly dark room. And the world outside will be pulled by the surface of the back wall. Surfaces. Somewhere to reflect that light, somewhere to catch that light. It has to have, otherwise light's going to keep going, you just catch it. Stop. So it's a surface. The surface is pulling the light. It's pulling the light, though. Think about it. You think light is flying, but it's true, because it's the same toroidal inside-outside truth that light comes from the central source. So therefore, light does two things. It's not only going in all directions at all times, which is, if you think about it, because it's a center source that exudes it from central source, this outside inside place. Because of the outside inside place is why light going in all directions at all times is always doing that. So therefore you need the other component, which is I want one. Like, who wants a sandwich? I want one. And that's the surfaces pull the light to them by raising their hand. That's where the light goes. Okay, sending it. So the light for the center source is like the guy with the sandwiches. Gotta have a surface, and so that's why it works that way. So therefore, the aperture, that little hole in the wall that says, I want one, then the light can be pulled in through this, because it comes in inverted. You got to flip it right back up. So it does the same thing to the peripheral. It does this swap flip thing too. But so it goes, right? So they say your eyes have to process information and turn it right back up. Right. So don't forget to do that to your consciousness. Make sure that you flip what you think it is right side up, because we're living in the upside down world, because we know we're in the dark room cameras. We're in the dark room. This is the mimic of the truth. There's only one thing, God, and the absence of God, light, and the absence of light. Absence of light is in the dark room. We're in the absence of light, but we're living in this hyper projection. It's a hyperimposed projection inflection. That's how we connect, is through the hyperimposition of it. Its presence. Yeah. It's very powerful stuff that's all coming into view and stuff. So God dialing it all in. So back to you thinking you need to go out there. The more you think you need to drive out there, actually, is exactly the complete evidence of your needing to go in so desperately. You need to get there badly, don't you? You want to colonize Mars? Well, let me show you how to find it. Inside. I'd even go as far as to say, you know what, those stars, because this is how God does things. Those stars are literal depictions of our consciousnesses. Those are us. Those stars are us. Something like that. And we're connected to it. Guaranteed it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And those are those constant stars. Those are the ones that always guide over us and guard over us. And so there's something happening in the cosmos, and that's why it says the third of the sky, the stars will roll up and stuff. It's probably actually going to happen, because this is where God, I know, it's probably exactly what's going to happen when time gets renewed, 18 years. The stars are going to roll up. It's actually going to be what we're going to see. It's going to happen to us. We're going to go, what? And then it's like, oh shit. So it makes much more sense. We wouldn't wake up the next morning and like, yeah, right? Like Christmas morning, like, oh my God, let's go. No. It's going to happen in front of us. It's going to happen. It's going to be an event that's going to happen, and time's going to get renewed. Oh my fucking God. Now we know. Now that the other one waking up wouldn't make sense. So, I mean, I've just elevated it. It's going to happen. The stars are going to prove to us that we are them. They are us. And that's how time is not relevant to the truth of center self, central source. What do you mean you're in such a rush to do what? Where are you going? What you doing? What are you in such a rush? The Senate. Sorry, you're time. I yield my time. You pieces of shit trying to worship time. Time is in the dust, baby. We're entering in central source, where we're at the third. We're dropping down into the real third dimension. We've been in time, which is this hyperflux place of between where it's at, which is 3 and 5. Because remember, 5 mirrored. Right? Meaning I'm up against my mirror. So I'm at when you get to yours and you can get to God, it's that mirror part of 5, 3 and 5. 5 is actually 10, which is actually all of it, which is plus God's plus 1. That's what it is. That's how the perpetuality of it works. So back to God dialing it all in. I know I can't get it done, but God goes boom, and it's done, all dialed in. Again, you'd have to build it all at the same time, and you'd have to build it all at the same time. You'd have to build it, and so that's why this history has been lied about. But I believe it's been lied about in such a way because it's like the intelligence is also part of the gig, like the computing truth. And mind you, so the future influences the past because of the swap flip. So that means that the outcome is what causes the absolute beginning. It's the beginning of time. That's the set of time that is calling for the lightning bolt. I'll take one, and God goes and hits this lightning bolt. When the set of time is issued, it's the beginning of it that's raising its hand, and God bolts it, and it's this shot of bolt that comes from that Eversville. So it goes down through the end towards the beginning. That shot of lightning it gets kapak, and then the lightning bolt actually is seen, light going up from the bottom this way, but it follows the path that was carved for it by God. That's how a destiny is written, because it gets crack, and then it follows that path that was already carved out for it. Now, can it divert and stuff? Sure, but it's getting where it's going. I mean, I'm sure you can get to those variables, but the truth of the matter is that you got a destiny and you're going to get there. We all need to know that, first of all, you might be going through some tough times, and that's just the physics of the dark room. Pass through the absence, and we're entering into central source, which right now is the imperative time. We're lucky to be, this is what a time to be alive, just so you know. So this is different than previous, like, no, it's always going to, I know that's how they felt, and they did live and die that way. But this is what's happening, and I can prove it. Great news. God's got us going somewhere good. Every one of us. God doesn't make anything wasteful. God doesn't do that. No. God is super fucking awesome. God dials it all in. And when I say dial it all in, I'm telling you, I'm never going to get done finding all the layers of symmetry that God's been doing. Every time I look to find its pattern, I find it every time. It never lets me down, and it always blows my mind. Period, end of story. Have fun. God's the +1. It's so true. God doesn't do things that God doesn't care about. It never could. It's impossible. Same thing with a calculator. It's not supposed to give you the wrong answer because it's intelligence, and that's the dialed in I'm talking about. The dialed in I'm talking about is the intelligence of God. God is the dialed in. God is the dialing. God is the dialer. God is the dial, the sundial, the clock. God is the dialing it in. God is the God clock. That is precision with its own flexibility, capability. It can absolutely vanish. The clock can absolutely vanish and be what? In the center of paradise, where you're like an angel, where you don't use the bathroom. 1,500 rooms in these manors, these palaces, huge, no bathroom. Not one bathroom. Not one bathroom in any of these palaces. Like I said, it's a template around the world. Not one bathroom. We're talking, these are cities from above. You can see them, they look like stars on the floor because it's all a motherboard of symmetrical, geometrical perfection. That's what God does. That's why they're still standing. Not a nothing could blow it down, but they destroyed them. Right, they did that on purpose, but we'll talk about that later. God did it, bam! Dialed in cities. We're talking manors. They're all in forms, geometrically pointing at stuff. And these are tall, huge places. They're made out of stone that make the acoustics. You can hear a whisper from across the way. You better believe you're going to be conscious. Listen to how much I'm yelling right now just because of the way that my environment makes me feel so shut down. Shut up and dampen that. Be quiet. Silence. Stay quiet. Die already is what they want to say to me. Fuck you. I'm going to come through. I'm going to bring us back to the whisper, where the whisper carries. Where the whispers carry. I want you to hear what I have to say, which is why I want you to hear it. That's why God gave us acoustics, so that way you will. And I don't have to push my voice out so that I can still sing like a goddess. God doesn't want me to ruin my voice. And God wants you to hear what I have to say. And God builds these beautiful, with the Franciscos, the paintings, the detail, the statues, the literal truth, the fountains, these created mist and humid, it was just dialed in. The acoustics, though, of their locations and the way that the water system comes in and cleans itself and goes through boilers, goes through steam things to run the trains, to run the elevators, to run this atmospheric energy that's free. They have chandeliers that are impossible to make. Chandeliers, there are hundreds of them in every single manor. Mirrors from the floor to the ceiling with no evidence of how they're being held up. These people couldn't destroy them. People reported like the iron gates. They're too heavy, but they move like nobody, like without even for hundreds. God built them. Iron gates, huge. These were made for giants, right? Because God built us. God showed us an example. Why? Because of the swap flip. Remember, we start in this middle place where we come to in paradise. What? But God's not there with us because it's an exit of the central source that we popped out of the ground. It's like, like watering you can put a seed on the shelf. But when you put it in soil, and water and sun, it's going to come to life, and you got to take care of it or it'll die. So don't do anything with that seed unless you're ready to take care of it. Well, that's what happens when we go through, because God is the center of is love, the vortex of love. It's this living. Love is the force of creation. Light is its repercussion. Know this: God is love. That is that. That is the articulate, coherent, intelligent consciousness of creation. The creation part is where love gets into the picture, because God does it to see it and to experience it and to taste it and to smell it and to enjoy its visit. It's absolute peaceful bringing to, God makes paradise. And God made this solar system with a paradise with a number 3, with a sweet spot. There's a sweet spot in the sun, and it just does it like that. Okay? We're the sweet spot in our solar system. Earth is where it's at, baby. First of all, don't insult us, but for your own sake, enjoy the planet you live on. Anyway, as I was saying, God dialing it all in. Chandeliers. They lied to us. They said that they put candles in those. Why did they do that? Well, because they wanted to hide the fact that we had free energy. Because when they came to in paradise, there wasn't anybody to stop them. Did they know how to use those technologies? God gave us it all dialed in. We woke up to a fucking wonderland. We're talking everything dialed in, palaces, but where are the people? God also left us apparently some baby incubators. God also left the trinkets around that they could misuse, maybe. Computers, maybe. Let them figure something out. Which ones are you going to use? What are you going to do with what I just gave you? Dialed in. It says be fruitful and fill the earth. Not fruitful like kill things and eat the flesh. No, meaning love one another and grow. All we had to do is work together. That's how you do when you build it slowly with the people. God gave us everything else. Dialed in, using all the things the way that it was built. The way that the earth was built with the acoustics, with the ley lines, with the energy grid, the free energy grid of earth, not theirs, and that you plug it in and pay every month. Or you don't have it and your food gets to go bad in your refrigerator because everything runs on electricity. That's what I'm talking about. That's that Edison bullshit. That Tesla bullshit. Tesla was just tapping into things that's already been known. They wanted to make Tesla the guy, but then they also wanted to let us know that he died in a hotel by himself. Fucking assholes. Anyway, back to God's kingdom. God gave it to us all dialed in. All we had to do was reverse engineer it if we wanted to know how it worked. But did we need to know how it worked? Well, yeah, you'd have to reverse engineer it to understand how it worked, I guess. But I'm pretty sure that these things work on their own. God does things that self-automate. No, I'm pretty sure that they just fucking shut it down because they didn't know what to do with God. That scared them. They're like, why is it opening? Why is it moving on its own? Because God made it fucking do all of it. Because God gave it to us the way we would want it to the nines. You know, God giving us automated things where the ports do what they do. They open, they close. The water comes in. It goes in the thing. It turns on the light when the lights need to come on. The clock moves with the stars and the sun and shows you daytime and because the things are all working off of each other in the air, in the free. So you got chandeliers that use like a plasma light, not candles, not fuel, not combustion. So there's a difference between the combustion of the digital opposite, the anti-Christ, Christ being the love of God, that love force, Christ energy. It's the absence of God. Well, so no wonder we expected it to happen. Exactly. So it was created while we were in central source, bam, and then on because love is pulling us back in is why there's a movement on an orbit. So eventually, okay, I'll see you soon, Mom, and then we exit. But Mom's pulling us home the whole time. But we've been through the passing where it's been absent. So now we're about to finally feel love again because we didn't pop out of the ground until we were already exited. We're like, look, Mom, and there's no mom or dad. So no wonder they feel like orphans. But guess what? Here's the great news. God does these things. God issues sets of time because of the love force of creation. Boom. And it's based on when the timeline is issued, it's because there's an outcome. I want you to experience happily ever after. And it's based on the outcome that causes the timeline to do its thing. And that's what we need to know is that we've been going through a generational evolution heading towards awesome. There's a culmination point and we haven't culminated to it yet, but we're culminating to it and we're almost there. Isn't that fucking awesome? Yes. So back to this dialing it all in, guys. Not kidding you. Lighthouses. The lighthouses. Okay, so there's stairs down into the ocean ports. The water would come in twice a day. The water would swoosh. We're talking the amount of water swooshing through, but it gets pulled in through its own system because the ports are connected to each other. God's got the whole thing, just like a body. Come on. God the creator, come on. It's all dialed in. The ports were connected. They knew that like when you were on a ship, there was a system also. I think I gotta watch that one again. I think the ships also shipped themselves. I think they also navigated themselves. I'm not kidding you. It's fucking winter wonderland. It's gonna be awesome because they knew that when the tide was going into that gate, it would affect the downsflow. So God created a climate controlled infrastructure of awesome where the towers, again, like cooling the wind. People would go sleep next to them for healing. Then there's towers. There's the acoustics of these buildings. They also have obelisk type towers that were like, there were 6 of them and a 7th one. And there's a mathematics to the way that they work. Everything is dialed in. The marble floors. Now, God didn't have to go to a quarry. God went bam and gave it to us in the actual world. Actually dialed in with all of it. I guarantee it was just like it was a toy store. There's cars, there's everything. Now, what are you gonna do with all this? That's what God did. Have fun. I'll see you in a little bit. And here we are, showing up. Barely, we're out of gas. We got a strap on our hood. There's no oil in our oil tank. Broken and tattered. The flat tires. Chugging, just hoping to make our way into the driveway. And Mama goes, "Come here, kitty." As a matter of fact, Mama's already coming down the road, seeing me walking up the road to greet me and to take my bags for me and put I brought a wheelchair. You can sit down, and I got coming to get me. Like, "Oh, come here, honey. We see you walking down the road." Comes with a wheelchair and takes my bags and hands me some water. I'm like, "God, we see you. We're bringing you into we're gonna walk you into the cross with the bride walking over the doorway thing." That's probably coming from that energy that I'm wanting to send all of us humans. Let you know that I see you all walking down the road. Now we're gonna come. We being the me and the cosmos that I'm connected to. Here is the vessel on earth to guide us. And it's true. And it's what it is for, because God dials it in, and you better just listen to what God has to say. And every time you do, I promise you're never going to be let down. God is always a +1. You're always headed somewhere good. If you don't know how to see the positive yet, it's not that it's not there. It's just you're not looking closely enough, and you'll get better at that. We help one another get better at that. Okay? And once we're in a state of healed, we don't get broken because we care about not being broken. But now we know. And it's worth it. That's why God does it this way. Because now we know that we know what we know. Because we're never going to know everything there is to know, and I don't want to. God's got this. That's Atlas. God's love is everywhere. And we are so all invited. Okay, so fortresses. These fortresses were built thick. Fortresses, but they weren't fortresses. These were not for war. They had a purpose. That was probably where we did study. It's probably what we did. We probably disciplined ourselves, not like with violence and having to shoot people down from outside the windows. They didn't get it right. Just same thing. They don't know how to interpret the pyramids. Those fortresses were probably places of study. Or because we also had universities too. They also had universities. They built big, huge buildings. God did. And so anyway, these fortresses. But that's you recognize the word to mean thick walls, huge fortresses. But these were serving a purpose. So, like for example, if that wall of China, God must have done that. There might have been a reason for it, like for wind or something. Maybe that is a necessary thing because of the way that the land is. Just never question God. If God doesn't need it to be there, God will destroy it. But don't directly destroy it. That's what they did, and we're going to learn our lesson because God can do that again. That's what God's love does. God let us play with that. And now we're going to come back to Central Source with that lesson learned. Because remember, we weren't in Central Source yet. We didn't pop out of the ground until we left the living waters. and the sun was able to like be hyperimposed on us out from above us instead of inside of us, which is when we're in there, we're inside central source. And when we left, now we've got this lens that's protecting us because God loves us. And in that lens is what hyperimposes what's inside us, outside us. But it's really just being projected through the lens of what's inside our planet and central self. You get it? Out there isn't actually out there, actually. It's actually in there, actually. That's right. Going on. We've got, oh man, just so deep, like the foundations of everything that they deep, farther than the eye can see is what the notes, the records say things like, farther than the eye can see, that nothing's going to fuck this shit up. We've got things underneath, the steam, the boiler systems, the water ran, everything, trains, lights, lighting outside, lighting on buildings. They said the buildings would glow. We're in these quarters with the acoustics and everything flowed together. Oh my God. Windows, huge windows, but windows in Russia, this is where a lot of it is, that Ukraine, this is where this old world is mainly taking place, is what I'm hearing. But it's been everywhere, and let's just be honest about that too. This guy's talking about the ones over there in Europe, and maybe that's because those are the only ones that he can access. America probably doesn't let you do the record search, because then we'd be like, over there, and we'd go check it out. But so these guys' videos are talking about these places that are over there in that area, that Ukraine, Russia, China area. Big windows, so huge that they're like, what? How can anybody survive in 30 degrees, negative 30 degrees temperature? The stone would freeze you, and the amount of wood it would take to even heat one of those rooms with those windows. What the? You can't even make something. If you were to wake up and be like, what do I do with all this stuff? They destroyed it out of hate. But it's also because the atmosphere changed, and the atmosphere is what ran the system. And I believe that happened at some point. That again, whatever happens inside of our lens, since it's coming from what's inside of us, that's why it's like a plumbing system, and that's what gets it going. It's this center source, the central source connected to a central source. So if you see like the sun, the reflection, projection inflections, you see this like beam of light from the sun, like it's like spinning around, and you can see planet and another planet, and then like an arrow. It's the light projection inflection of what's going on with beams. That's my focus. I can focus myself into a laser. My conscious thought, I can focus. That's what God gave us the example of that in fractals and all this other stuff. So that's why we see it out there in the space. But again, is it out there? It's actually in here. And lenses to lenses lets you dive down into the layers of light. Cathedrals with spires that would catch the energy. We're talking in all different kinds of things that would also power the energy inside the building, the lighting and all of it. So God made buildings that were alive. Living computer was a living computer grid, lattices of copper underneath and inside the walls. These were living analogs. No bathrooms, because we're light beings when we get to central source. Elevators, bridges. Oh my God, no. These are impossible to build. The guy's talking about the numbers, especially because of the lies. Again, it would have been, it's one thing if you would have told us the truth. We don't know. We just woke up. I have no fucking clue who did this, how I got here, or what's going on. That would have been honest. And then we could have at least, we would have put, the records would show things like, semicolon, as far as we know, which is the code. As far as I know. Go ahead, just add it to the end of all yours. Semicolon, as far as we know. Because once you, as far as I know it, then your certainty necessity flies out the window. Well, then, is it yes or no? Well, it's yes, as far as I know. Well, it sounds like you've got something you wish that the answer was, but if it's as far as you know, then you can't guarantee it. Nope, you can't guarantee it. Well, then I'm going to have to rip this in half because it's not guaranteed. Bye-bye, money. Again, honey, we're in the central source. You need to leave your muddy boots outside the door. Now, that's why we got a foyer for you to go ahead and take your boots off. You don't have to leave them outside for the animals to get inside. We got a foyer for you to take your boots off right there. A place where you take your boots off and put on your slippers. You see? Because that's what we do. We want you inside home. And we want you to feel at home while you're there. You see? So, the lighthouses, the ships, they all ran these things, the tides. Then the water comes in and it runs all these things. And the lighting, the bells. There was huge bells. Bells. Okay, now here's another thing about the East and the West. There's something about the East and the West. Well, the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. Remember, the water goes down one way and the water goes down the other way. Well, apparently, that's also the way they mess with the clocks. These clocks. What's clockwise and counterclockwise? Well, who says what's what? Right? What's counterclockwise? What's all left and right? Well, the sides of the brain. Everything that God does shows us through it the way that God built it for us to learn from. God isn't going to be here to be the mother, but God gave us a mother. But we can learn from everything we observe. That's why God dialed it in for us. Why? By dialing it in for us, God said, here, learn everything there is to know. And what are you going to do with it? That's what's happening. And we're entering Central Source again, where this is the reckoning day. So how'd you do up there? Hey, guys, how'd it go? How'd it go, huh? Oh my gosh, we need triage. That's what it's, but we understand. We're still receiving all of you. We're not kicking anybody out. We're making you stay out there. You stay out there. What are you talking about? Fucking get inside here. Come on inside. Come on. You're safe. Come on in. Yeah, everybody. And Earth is coming in. She's getting her shower and her little car wash. Woohoo! Everyone's going to get dolled up. So go take a shower. Everyone's got your own room. Here you go. Your own key. Here's your card. Your black card. Here's your keys to your sidekick, your orb that's going to get you everywhere you need to go. Go take a shower, a bath. Go put some clean clothes on. It's already ready for you, baby. Enjoy yourself. I'll see you if you want. When you're ready, come down to the kitchen and have some soup. Tell me all about it. All right. Just go take some time to yourself. And if you need anything, push the button. We'll get it for you. All right. The building, the way that the lights work, and then most likely with the plasma up at the top with the candles, is what made the rooms hot to live in with big windows and 40-degree temperature. Sewers, the plumbing, they didn't need bathrooms, though, because we're light beings. We're living in paradise, baby. We don't have to take a shit. Because we get nutrition from actual fruit, but it's the third with the fifth dimension. Third and the fifth. We've been in the fourth. Totally different. Time's out for the minute. Time only happens when we exit the central sphere. That's the time is space, which is the distance from central. So, therefore, we eat fruit, but it doesn't need to be shit out of our body. Cemeteries. There was giants that lived here at one point in this evolution during this pass through. Lamps. Oh yeah, that's the lamps in the streets. Again, it all ran off of itself. It wasn't gas. It wasn't electricity. Airships. The Zeppelin airships. Because again, they remember their noses was pointed towards this electrical source, and then they would go float away. But these were precise. These airships were not just floating. You had to be like, hold it, slow it down. You had to pull it up and like the ship in this. These were able to stop and maneuver. They were able to do their maneuver. They could cross the Atlantic free. Because God gave it to us. But that's where the fallacy comes into play. Like, where'd the people go? Maybe they were never there. You said that you found the mud. Right, that's what I think that God would do. You were a survivor of an event. But here's what happened. Crack. And that swashed the water around. So God built it and then opened it up. And so it looks like it was a mud flood from everywhere. But you actually, and you're a survivor. What the hell happened? That's what God would have to do. If God's going to give it to you all dialed in, that's the only thing he can do is pop you in to it at a certain point, which is, like I said, the physics of it, the mathematics pan out. Got it? Good. So therefore, all the treasure hunts, all those the crystal skulls, now everything is possible. Everything. Good. And true. Mirrors. I told you about the mirrors. Oh, it's a good thing. I was like, I ran out of room, but I wrote things down a few different times. The wrought iron gates. Just the way that it was run the water system. Hydraulics, hydro, all of it's dialed in. The clocks. This is something for you to think about. It's about an hour and 15. I like it. Spend some minutes of your time at least fathoming the potential that it's not going to be too good to be true, which is why I'm here. Mama, I'm connected to the male Father, Earth, because we're going to get this party started, heaven on earth. And you're already family. Now come on in. And go get yourself all situated and come down and have a bowl of soup. Tell me all about it when you're ready, all right? Mwah. Alec is my number one. She is the presence of my Lord in the land. And that's how your children should be. We're going to tell everybody all about it. We're going to get this thing fixed. And we're going to utilize our best. And we're going to feel optimized and enthusiastic, I promise you. So prepare for takeoff of landing in Central Source. Till next time. And intelligence. Katie, come home. Let's get this done. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about you. Okay. Mwah.